All right, well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. We are excited to have you here as we get to know a little bit more about the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, a little bit more about undeclared and exploratory options and things that are available to you all, and we're excited to get to know you. So we're going to go ahead and get started at this time. And first of all, we wanted to say welcome. Welcome to you all. And we're excited that not only that you're here with us today, but excited for you as you begin your time here with UC Davis. We know that you probably had a lot of questions and a lot of things on your mind, especially now, and we hope to answer some of those things. So before we really get started, we wanted to take a few moments just to talk about Zoom and the webinar that we're going to be using today. You may want to play around with Zoom, get to know a little bit of the technology pieces. And just to start, your video as attendees is off and you are muted. And so we welcome questions and we ask that you use the Q&A function that you're going to see toward the bottom there on your screen. The Q&A function will help us track questions that come in. There may be some questions that we'll answer live on the webinar and other questions that we're going to answer in the chat feature itself. So we encourage you all to ask questions. And we want to let you know too, with the amount of folks in here today, we may not answer every single question, but that's okay because we're going to have some time to meet with advisors later that we'll talk a little bit about. We will not be using the raise your hand function, and we prefer not to use the chat function to answer questions. Today's webinar is going to help you get acclimated to the college and the Undeclared Exploratory program. We're also going to be talking about some tips and things that will help you prepare for your fall quarter scheduling. Lastly, this webinar is being recorded and it will be posted to the college website, so you will have an opportunity to reference back. So with that being said, we're going to get into some introductions of some folks that are here today. My name is Joe Lee, and I am one of the academic advisors here in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences Dean's Office. You know, one of the things that I'm really excited about with new students and having the opportunity to get to know you all and to hear more about your goals and interests as you continue at Davis. We know there's a lot of opportunities, and for some of you, you might be feeling overwhelmed by the amount of majors and things that you can look at. So we're just excited to get to know you, and I'm happy that you're here today.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Dieslin. I also work with Joe in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Science Dean's Office. So glad that you could join us today for this webinar. I love that I can help students like yourself in the exploratory undeclared program kind of figure out what major you want to do, what career path you want to go down, what your goals are, and sort of watch how that all unravels, especially your first year on campus. And I can't wait to meet you and work with you. I think I'm also going to share a fun fact today as well, and maybe Joe can go back and share his. So I was actually, a fun fact is I was in the Peace Corps in Nicaragua when I graduated from college. So if anyone's interested in the Peace Corps at some point in time, you can always make an appointment with me and we can talk about that. So glad to see you on here. Good to meet you all.
Hi everyone, my name is Hong Dao. I'm another academic advisor in the Dean's Office who work with Joe and Tracy as well. I've been in the Dean's Office for 4 years now. I am an alumni at UC Davis and got my undergrad degree in clinical nutrition. I'm very excited that you all are able to join us today, and I'm hoping that you all, we will meet with you at some point to kind of learn more about you and how we can support you in choosing a major and help you with your academic and personal goals here at Davis.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle Huddleston. Thank you all for joining us today. We're really excited that you've decided to be in this space with us and that you are attending UC Davis. And I can't wait to get to know you throughout your time at the university. A fun fact about me, I mean, I guess it's not that unique, but I love dogs, every dog, but most specifically pugs. I follow a lot of pugs on Instagram, so if you want some recommendations, let me know. I'm gonna pass it over to Bella now.
Hi everyone, my name is Bella. I am a peer advisor in the College of Ag Dean's office, so I am currently a student. I'm actually going into my 4th year, and I am a double major with environmental policy analysis and planning and econ. So definitely feel free to ask me any types of questions if you're interested in those types of majors. And I'm really excited for all of you to join us today, and hopefully we can answer all your questions. And a fun fact about me is that I am learning to play the ukulele right now. So quarantine really hit and I got bored, and now I'm learning the ukulele. So that's me.
All right, so we're gonna have our video off for the rest of the webinar until we answer some questions. We'll have an open Q&A session at the end. So feel free to save your questions for the end, and we will certainly take some time to answer that. But for today, we did want to just take a moment to practice using the Q&A function to make sure that everybody's aware of where it's at. So today you're going to see a presentation by our advising staff, and to submit your questions like we've talked about, we ask that you use the Q&A tool. So as just an example here, and just to try it out, we'd like for you to use the Q&A option and just, instead of asking a specific question, please just tell us where you are located in the Q&A. All right, so we've got some Bay Area folks, Southern California is represented, a few more Bay Area folks, more SoCal, Central Valley, Central Coast. So, all right, we've got an out-of-state folks representing, so that's nice. Couple folks out of state, awesome. So it looks like we've got folks from around the country represented here with us today, and we certainly are excited to get to know you. So now that you're all aware of using that tool, we do ask that you continue using that throughout the presentation. So as we move into our goals for today, we do want to take a moment and talk about those. If we could go to the next slide. There we go. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what academic looks like at UC Davis, your network of support, as we like to call it, and how we choose classes. What are some of the things that you're going to be looking for as you start to select your fall classes? So academic advising, what that looks like and how we do it in our college, and then of course leaving you with plenty of recommendations as you move forward.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about what is academic advising. And academic advising is really a unique opportunity to partner with a staff or a faculty or even a peer, a student like Bella, in order to really develop your goals as a college student. So coming to college, we know that you come in with a lot of goals, you come in, with a completely new experience. And while it can be tempting to want someone to tell you what classes to take and what major to choose, we really partner with you so that you can make the best choices for yourself. And the way we partner with you is getting to know you, your areas of interest, and what you'd like to do during your time in Davis. So within the College of Agricultural and Environmental Science, there is a network of support, and there's 4 different areas I want to talk about today. So major advisors are the advisors that you will meet with as an undeclared exploratory student, the advisors in the dean's office are your major advisors. But as you start to kind of think about what majors you want to explore, you can meet with those major specific advisors and you can kind of come up with the plan for what an academic plan would look like for the next 3 quarters, for example, what classes you could take. Major advisors are really good in terms of connecting you with different research and internship opportunities. They also know the faculty very, very well, and so they can help you if you have a certain area of interest that you want to get involved in. The dean's office helps you, especially this first year, with major exploration. So we can kind of get to know you and what your specific goals are and what you're interested in doing, and maybe bring your attention to some majors that you've never heard of, some majors that might be a good fit for you. And we could also help you with some of those recommended classes in pursuit of those majors. At the university, you also have university requirements. You have college requirements that are different across all of the colleges at UC Davis. And then you have general education requirements. So Dean's office is a really good place to go for clarification on all the different requirements you have to fulfill during your 4 or 5 years at the university. Also, college policies and procedures, they can be a little bit, confusing coming in as a first-year student. It's totally normal to have questions and not really be sure of, certain rules and things that are different from whether it be high school or a community college or a previous institution you were at. And so you can see that major advising and dean's office do have some areas of overlap where we can refer you to some great campus resources, help to build your network of support, help you get involved with co-curricular opportunities. And then I also want to talk about faculty advisors. So faculty advisors are your professors, your instructors who are teaching your classes. They're also individuals who you may get in touch with if you want to pursue a research project. So faculty are really good people to get connected with, especially at UC Davis. And then peer advisors are the students within our college, within our majors, within other majors you're interested in exploring, who can really give you that perspective of what it's like to be a student at UC Davis and within the college.
So as we begin to take a look at our schedule for fall quarter, there's a few things that we would like to go over and discuss with you as we continue. First of all, when we think about scheduling, we want to make sure that we are balancing our schedule. You don't want to be too heavy, too overloaded in 1 or 2 subject areas. You ideally want to make sure that you have a variety of subjects to help you stay balanced. For example, we would never recommend for a student coming in their first year in their first quarter to take chemistry, biology, calculus, and statistics all in their first quarter. We want to spread those out. We want to make sure that you're able to balance out your schedule and take a variety of different classes. So this can look a little bit different for each of you. Individual interests and other things may help kind of determine what types of classes you'd want to take. So when we think about balanced schedules, we want to get a mix of GE. Career Discovery Group program is a great opportunity for our college. Maybe you want to explore some units through first-year seminars, English composition requirements. So there are a lot of things that you can take. We do recommend that students stick to no more than 2 kind of science and math-based classes at a given time. Another thing to consider are prerequisites. Some courses may have prerequisites, and you do want to make sure that you're meeting those prerequisites before you're able to move forward. A prerequisite is a requirement that a student must satisfy in order to move on to a certain course. Most of the time, this will be maybe getting a C- or better in a certain class before you're eligible to take the next one in the series. Some classes require you to meet certain entrance exam or placement requirements. All the prerequisite information for any course is available to you in the general catalog and on Schedule Builder. We certainly advise students not to take courses out of sequence without prerequisites. And in many cases, the registration system will give you a big warning when you attempt to sign up for classes, and eventually students would be dropped from classes if they're attempting to take classes without certain prerequisites. So there is a checker that is enforced by many departments, and so you want to make sure that you're not taking things out of sequence. Now, another question that was actually raised in the Q&A that is important for you all to kind of think about is that for some of you as undeclared, you may already know which major you would like to pursue here at UC Davis. And that is a great thing if that's where you're at. You are more than welcome to reach out to your intended major advisor to learn more about that specific major and help plan your classes for that. For other folks, you might be completely in this place of, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know which major I want to choose, but I'm interested in learning a lot about a lot of different things. That's okay too. For you undeclared exploratory students, our office, the Dean's Office, will be serving as your major advisor until you're able to officially change your major, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. So a few more tips to consider here. We recommend that students stick to about 15 units during their first quarter at UC Davis. Now, you may not get exactly at 15. You may end up with 14 or 13, and that's okay. We want you to feel comfortable with the schedule that you've selected that helps you move forward and make progress here at UC Davis. For some of you, you may not have satisfied our entry-level writing requirement, and you definitely want to make sure that you're prioritizing the entry-level writing requirement as you begin your time here at UC Davis. If you are interested in taking any course, or excuse me, any major that requires chemistry or math, you do want to make sure that you're moving forward with the placement exams. You'll find more information about that later in the presentation, but it is important that you take those placement exams because for chemistry and calculus, you do need them in order to move forward with the series here at UC Davis. Most majors in our college do require one or both of those classes. We do have a handful that do not, but for most majors in our college, chemistry and math is required. And Hong has been sharing some helpful links for you in the chat function that you can take a look at. Also, we recommend that you add a fun GE class. Regardless of the major you choose, GEs are a requirement that you'll have to fulfill. So adding a course like film studies or history or English or any number of things can be a great way not only to balance your schedule, but help you continue to make sure that you're completing requirements that you need. First year seminars are another great way for students to add 1 or 2 units at a time. Students can take first year seminars graded pass, no pass, or letter graded. One last thing about units that I want to make sure to mention is that you need to make sure you're enrolling in at least 12 units. 12 units is the minimum number of units needed to maintain full-time status and financial aid eligibility. For those of you that will be living in the residence halls, it's also the minimum number of units needed to reside in the residence halls.
Okay, so thanks, Joe. Joe talked a little bit about some of the placement exams, and I want to touch more upon that today as well in our webinar. So as an undeclared exploratory student, all students on campus are required to fulfill the entry-level writing requirement, which is called ELWR. And you can find more information by going to that website posted there under the writing column. Students should take the WP20, which is the Writing Placement 2020 exam. It is offered in June, July, August, and September. So if you haven't taken it yet, that is totally okay. But you will have an opportunity to take it again, I believe, the week of July 6th through July 12th. So make sure you take it as early as you can so that you know which entry-level writing class you might need to take in the fall if you haven't fulfilled entry-level writing previously at your high school. And so we kind of have a mix of some students have fulfilled the entry-level writing requirement prior to enrolling at UC Davis, and some students have not. And so it's totally okay. You're not starting off behind if you need to fulfill the entry-level writing during your first quarter at UC Davis. And you must, those of you who do need to satisfy the entry-level writing requirement, you must satisfy it your first year at Davis. So that's something really important to consider. For math, this requires a placement exam, and placement is only based on your score in the placement exam. And so it's not really a pass-fail placement exam. It really is a score that lets you know what would be the best class for you to be in if you are, like Joe had mentioned, pursuing a major that requires calculus. So maybe your first class for your place when you place is a workload class. And a workload class is a class that a lot of students place into before they go into algebra or pre-calculus or calculus. And like Joe mentioned, these classes are typically a series. So there's usually like a 16A, a 16B, and a 16C. So things like that. So they go on for a couple of different quarters. So again, if you take the math placement exam, which is offered fall session, September 9th through 15th, and then again for fall session 2, September 30th through October 6th, again, we recommend that you take it as early as possible. I think Hong also posted the link for the math placement exam. But if you don't score as high as you wanted to, and you have to start in the workload class, it's totally okay. You're not behind by any means. Doing the workload class is really going to build that foundation to help you continue with your pre-calculus and your calculus series. The same goes for chemistry. So a lot of our majors, like Joe had mentioned, within our college do require chemistry. Now, if you're considering a major within another college, like letters and sciences, that might not be the case. But if you are considering pursuing a major that does require chemistry, I do urge you to take the chemistry placement exam, and the sessions that they are offered to complete the exam are the same as the math placement, and those links have been provided as well by Hong in the chat. And so the chemistry placement exam, again, will tell you which would be the appropriate chemistry class for you starting out. So maybe you place in a workload chemistry before you get into the general chemistry series, and that's totally okay. A lot of students, they do place in workload, but then they take some time to build up to be able to complete the entire chemistry series. So again, I just want you to know that it's totally okay if you don't place into the class that you want to start in. You're not behind by any means. Okay, so some reminders. Some students are coming in with AP or IB exam scores, which give you course credit for, let's say, for example, a first class in a calculus series, like a Math 16A. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to be really careful not to take the same class that you got AP or IB credit for. In some cases you can, and that's to your advantage because it's kind of like a refresher. And we can refer you, maybe someone can go ahead in the chat and share the AP IB chart. And that's where you can see, do you have the option of taking the class again at UC Davis? Typically students do not if they get AP or IB credit for those classes. Workload units, like I mentioned before, it's not uncommon for students to start in workload 57E for English, workload 55M for math, and workload 41C for chemistry. The units for these classes vary. They show up when you register for them as 0 units because they don't count towards the 180 units you need to graduate, but they do count towards that 12 to 15 units that you need each quarter you're enrolled at UC Davis. So taking a workload class doesn't put you behind for your units. What it might mean is maybe the next quarter you take a couple extra units, or maybe you take a class over summer. It doesn't mean you have to. We also want you to be very, very mindful of drop deadlines. So typically classes have either a 10-day drop or a 20-day drop. So when you register for your classes on Schedule Builder, you want to be really careful that you make note of when the 10-day drop is. And so if you're in a class and you're feeling like, this is probably not the right class for me right now, or maybe you try 16 units, but it just feels like too much as you're in, the end of your first week, you're feeling like, I don't know if I can do 16 units this first quarter. You can absolutely drop the class as long as you're maintaining those 12 units, like Joe had mentioned. So just be really careful that you are mindful of the drop deadlines, because the professors won't remind you likely, that you won't get an email. You may get a notification, but it's really your responsibility to make sure that you keep track of all those really important dates and deadlines. And then we want to encourage you to please enroll in lower division courses. So those are classes that have a 0 through a 99. And so, for example, if you have like a Stats 103, that's going to be an upper division class, and you're going to wait to do that until your 3rd or 4th year. So you just want to make sure that you're remaining in lower division classes. That's really going to set you up for success moving forward.
So a couple last tips that we encourage students to think about is how to get involved with our college. There's a few things that we want to talk about that will help you connect with other students in the college and help you learn about resources. And then a few of the events that our office hosts throughout the academic year. So first, on your screen in the upper left-hand corner, you see our Aggie Ambassador program. Aggie Ambassadors is a student organization that is sponsored by our college, where students have an opportunity to engage in outreach, leadership, and build community, not only within the college, but across campus. Aggie Ambassadors meet regularly throughout the quarter, and students can join, receiving 1 to 2 units for academic credit, or they don't have to receive academic credit and can certainly participate on a more social and less academic focused basis. Another opportunity is through Manners. Manners is a nationwide organization, and Manners stands for Multiculturalism in Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Related Sciences. Students can take part in promoting the diversity within the field of agriculture. Students have the opportunity to travel to conferences, work on public speaking skills, and this is also another opportunity for students to earn academic credit and can earn 1 unit per quarter. Career discovery groups, and what you see in the upper right-hand corner there, our Career Discovery Group program is a unique program specifically for students in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. This program is open to both first-year and transfer students, and students have the opportunity to learn more about themselves, career industries, and pathways. Students will be paired with a graduate student mentor. And then during the winter quarter, students have the opportunity to work with the Internship and Career Center, exploring their resources here on campus. And it culminates in the spring quarter with an opportunity for students to present and build up their presentation skills on a career or industry of their choice. What you see in the upper right-hand corner is a Meet the Professionals networking event. And students have the opportunity to meet with a variety of different working professionals, all Davis alum, well, mostly Davis alums, I should say. And you have a great opportunity to hear about a lot of different career pathways. Lastly, within the college, we host a series of events throughout the academic year. We host a study break event where we really just host a low-key, relaxed atmosphere for students to come hang out and get a little bit of a break during finals week. Our Slice of Advising event is another event that happens every single quarter, where we get a bunch of pizzas, rent a room in the Student Community Center, and welcome any and all students to stop by, ask questions, hang out for a little bit. There's also other events that will be taking place throughout the academic year. We know, of course, due to COVID and health-related concerns, that it is throwing a little bit of a wrench into the plans, but we will be working and providing opportunities for students to connect and engage, even if it is in a virtual setting, given current health circumstances. So be on the lookout for that. You will be getting more information via email and other things shared with you.
Okay, and make sure, just to add to that, that you like us on Facebook as well, because that's a really good place where we post a lot of our events. We're going to talk about what's next. Okay, so now that you have attended the webinar, and we'll get to questions in just a moment, what you're going to do is you're going to schedule in the month of July, so it's coming up really quickly. You're going to schedule a one-on-one appointment with a dean's office advisor. So someone in our office is going to contact you and work with you to schedule your one-on-one advising appointment. And that's a great opportunity to bring any questions that you have, to talk about your fall schedule, to talk about maybe some areas of interest that you're thinking about. And you will have that one-on-one 30-minute appointment over Zoom. And we'll give you login instructions, or you'll have it over phone if that's more convenient for you. We call registration times at UC Davis pass times. So pass one registration, there's two passes, so two kind of opportunities to be able to register for your classes. Pass one registration is going to start August 3rd and end August 7th. And you are going to want to make sure that you register for your fall classes when you have your individual pass time. And so you can find that pass time in Schedule Builder, and we can always guide you through that in our one-on-one advising appointment in July. And during that time, if a class is full, you can't get on the wait list. And so wait lists are where a class already has reached capacity and you still want the opportunity to join the class in case someone drops it prior to the start of instruction. And so during pass two, which is the third bullet there, that's when you'll have an opportunity to add a class as a waitlisted student. So you want to make sure that you don't wait list for all of your classes. You want to make sure that the most important thing is getting into the classes that you need. And they might not be ideal timing. So you might have those 8 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. But the most important thing is really focusing on that balanced schedule and making sure that you get into the classes that you need. And then during that pass two time, which starts August 24th through September 4th, I know that feels really late, but don't forget we're on the quarter system, so we start end of September. You're going to make any changes necessary to your schedule. So if you register for classes August 3rd through 7th, and then you realize, oh, you know, I think I don't want to take that GE, or, you know, maybe I should take the workload chemistry, or maybe I should take that calculus, you can definitely go in August during your pass two through September, and you can make a change to your schedule. September 29th is when we get a chance to get together as a cohort, and hopefully you get to know one another a little bit more. And so this will be scheduled for September 29th from 10 to noon and 3 to 5. And Dean's Office advisors will be joining you for some really great activities and just to get to know one another and get to familiarize yourself more with the college and the university. And we'll provide more information for that at a later date. So if you want to take a picture of this, that would totally be fine. And then we're also recording it, so you can always go back and watch this again.
And with that, we have reached the conclusion of the formal part of our presentation today. We did want to keep time, about 20 minutes here, 25 minutes, to open it up to Q&A for any other questions that you might have, anything else that's on your mind. We welcome those types of questions. Remember, we do have representatives from the Dean's Office, a few staff advisors, and our student peer advisor who can help provide any student perspectives and other things. So please feel free to ask some questions. And we're gonna go ahead and give it a minute here as we also turn our cameras back on. So here's a good question. While it speaks specifically to the career discovery group, it also kind of addresses the online or in-person options. So let's see, Danielle, do you want to kind of talk a little bit about what classes may look like in the fall and where students can get some up-to-date information about that?
Hi, I definitely am with all of you that we're still kind of uncertain about what to expect for the fall, and so we are in that with you. At this point, we really encourage you to continue checking your UC Davis email for directives sent out by the chancellor and for communication shared with you by admissions. Hong also just shared a really helpful link in the chat, our coronavirus FAQ website, and that will also provide updated, up-to-date information. As of right now, the most recent information that we've received is that there will be remote options for courses, and that some courses may have in-person components if it is safe, according to health guidelines and where we're at. So I know that that is definitely a question on everyone's mind, but just encourage you to continue staying connected to the different resources in your email, and just continuing to be in the uncertainty together and asking the questions as you have them.
I also just wanted to add something really quick about CDG, career discovery groups. I think that I did career discovery my first year, and it was amazing. I got my research position that I have now, and I have a huge network pool. So I think whether it's online or in person, I'm pretty sure that the staff of CDG is going to do their best work to ensure that you still get the most out of the experience. So I don't think that if it's online, that should keep anyone from joining. And it's important to keep in mind that you can only join this as a first year transfer. So you don't want to miss out on the opportunity. And it is a year-long class. You can choose to do it every quarter if you want, but to get into winter and spring, you need to do it in fall. So I highly suggest that if you're even interested, reaching out and maybe seeing what plans they might have specifically. I think that'd be a good idea.
Thanks, Bella and Danielle. And you will be receiving more information regarding the Career Discovery Group program. We will be sending that information out for you all to have. All right, so we do have another question here, and I'll turn this one over to Hong. In general, do we get to explore many courses outside of the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences if we are looking at majors outside the college as well? So Hong, can you speak a little bit about kind of taking classes that of interest that may not align with our college?
Yeah. So one of the benefits of being an exploratory undeclared student in our college is this is your opportunity to kind of explore, take classes to kind of figure out what major you're interested in, or classes, subject classes you're interested in, as you kind of help you figure out your major exploration. So if you're interested in taking classes outside of College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences during your first year or even your second year here, that's totally fine. We encourage you to take classes outside. That's where when Joe was talking about like fun GE classes, right? Those GE classes could be something that you're interested in learning about, and maybe that's where your major direction will go. So you could definitely take classes outside of our college, and during your one-on-one advising, we will kind of go over more of what your interests are, and maybe also give you some recommendation classes for you to sign up for as well.
Thanks, Hong. And I think that leads into another question that was recently added to the chat as well. The Aggie advising appointment that you will be contacted to schedule will help you kind of go over not only your goals and interests, but help you determine which classes you may want to consider and other things that will help you as you are getting ready to start your time at UC Davis. So, we'll talk through course options, we'll talk through maybe backup plans, and really help make sure that you have a good idea of what types of classes that you would like to start off with during fall 2020. Tracy, there's a good question in here about kind of major changing and having specific majors in mind. So what type of advice would we give to students who are undeclared exploratory right now, but may already know what major they want to pursue?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And that's definitely not uncommon to be undeclared exploratory, but then also feel like you know more or less what you want to do with your major at UC Davis. So I would definitely encourage you to still attend that one-on-one Aggie advising appointment in July. All of us in the dean's office were very savvy on the majors, at least starting out the prep work. Of course, the major advisors are really the expert for the major in terms of course scheduling, but we can definitely guide you in the right direction as to what would be a good schedule to set you up for success for pursuing that major. So like, let's say, you know, you want to work with animals, but you don't really know to what capacity. We can say, well, let's talk about these different ways or these different options. Or maybe you think you want to go to a completely different college and do something like psychology. We could say, okay, let's try these classes and we can help you build that nice balanced schedule. So definitely still keep your dean's office appointment that you will be contacted for in July. And then students can still pursue a major, not technically being declared that major. So what will happen is after your first quarter has ended, and so long as you end the quarter in good academic standing, which means that you've completed no less than 12 units and you have a 2.0 or higher, then you actually can go ahead and officially declare your major, and we can definitely meet with you and guide you through how to do that. And so it's not uncommon to pursue a major for a couple of quarters and then declare. Just know that you still have access to those classes being an undeclared exploratory student.
Thanks, Tracy. So yes, just to clarify, there was a question that popped in. When we say the Aggie advising appointment, we do mean the appointment that you will be scheduling with the dean's office. And to that point as well, please feel free to take a look at the websites of the departments and majors that you might be interested in, especially as we're gearing up for summer and all the orientation information. A lot of great information has been provided for students on department websites that include recommendations for the first quarter, good contact information for advising staff, and may answer a lot of the basic questions that you might have. There's another question here about fall that came in, and you know, one of the things that we will say about fall is that there is a little bit of an unknown. There's a lot that can certainly change between September and now. And so we do encourage students, of course, to be mindful of the chancellor's updates that come out. There's a question that was specifically about what types of classes may be available in person. The information that we've been told at this point are lab or performance-based classes, things that the learning is more applied and hands-on, are the types of classes that may be available in person. The university will also be working to provide accommodations for students who are either unable to attend those classes in person or have other needs that may not be met in person. So the university is working very hard to provide any and all opportunities for students, regardless of the teaching format, virtual or in person. So another question that has come up at various points, and I want to turn this one over to Bella to hear a little bit more about the student experience. What are some of the things that you found helpful or things that you would like to have known as you started your time at UC Davis?
Yeah, that definitely is a really popular question. I do think back a lot as to where I struggled the most my first year and why I struggled. And I think, and I'm not trying to plug the dean's office, but I really, really wish that I was more proactive in meeting with advisors, because I thought like I could do this on my own and I know what to do, but I didn't realize that we had so many requirements to fulfill besides my major requirements. So I wish that I had been more proactive in trying to figure out a plan for GEs to move forward, and to kind of keep in mind that there's also a ton of resources that are advising, but also tutoring. I think that's important too. So making sure you know what you're doing is important, but making sure that you're passing those classes and getting through them is important too. So services like on campus, which I think will be available online as well. There's tutoring services. There's the career center, which I use when I'm trying to like look for a job, which some students might and some students might not. I think it's really important to focus on your classes, making sure you're passing them and taking what you need to finish your requirements. But if you have other priorities as well, just making sure that you reach out to people. So starting at the dean's office is such a good hub, because we can give you all the resources to reach out to. So we might not have all the answers, but we will definitely know the people who do. So coming to us with your questions is a really good first step, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Bella. And I know we've got a few more minutes for some questions to still come in, but I did want to just take a moment to highlight our contact information that you've seen on this screen. We do have a presence on social media, so please feel free to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We try not to send out too many emails. I know you're going to be getting plenty throughout this orientation and summer cycle, but we do want to make it accessible to you all as well for any announcements, helpful tips, upcoming deadlines, all that fun and excitement do get posted to our social media sites. You do see our general advising email listed there as well. This is staffed by our advising team, and we can help answer any quick related questions and get back to you. We are located in Marac Hall, which is the same building as the Chancellor's office. So, you know, we are kind of on the south end of campus, near the Mondavi Center, near the Welcome Center, that part of campus. So we look forward to seeing you there when we can meet again in person.
I had one more thing, Joe, about contact information. So the telephone number is listed there, and that's definitely a good one to have to reach us. But right now, I don't think anyone is specifically answering it. So the best way to get in touch with us would be, like Joe had mentioned, that case advising email. So once campus kind of returns to more normal in terms of staff being on campus, then you can definitely reach us at that number. But for now, that's the email is more advised.
Another thing I will add, I know there was a question in Q&A about only students who are undeclared will be contacted for an advising appointment. So since we're your major advisor, we decided that the staff advisor will reach out to you via email very soon in early July to schedule a one-on-one advising appointment after you have met with that advisor. So it could be any of 9 of us in the dean's office. If you have any additional question, you're more than welcome to email the advisor that you met with in July for any further questions that you have, and also you know, throughout the whole summer if anything comes up as well.
So there's another question here that came in chat that I think is a very important question to take some time to talk about. And I think I'll turn it over to Danielle. And the question here is it okay / normal to feel slightly stressed and nervous about readying ourselves for college. So Danielle, please take that away.
Thanks, Joe. So first, I want to start off by just saying thank you to whoever asked this question. I really appreciate that you asked this question and your vulnerability and courage for bringing it up, because it is really important to talk about, and it is completely normal and okay to feel stressed and nervous about starting college. It is a really significant transition and a totally new experience. And so that definitely makes sense, and those feelings are extremely valid. I know I can personally say I went to UC Davis for my undergrad, and I definitely was extremely stressed and nervous and confused coming onto campus. And these are things that definitely in appointments that I have as a dean's office advisor, I'll talk with students about what they're experiencing to kind of work through these pieces and help get you connected with resources and opportunities on campus to support you in finding your community and where you feel a sense of belonging within our campus community. So it's definitely really normal. And I also want to acknowledge that the transition to fall for this year in specific is completely unprecedented. And I know that you all are probably, you've heard that word a lot of times and you're like, I don't want to hear it anymore. But I do want to acknowledge it and the additional layers that come along with that. And so thank you for asking this question, and it is okay. And we are here for you and here to support you.
Thanks, Danielle. And I would just add to that, I think it's a great, I agree wholeheartedly with everything Danielle said. We are here to support you. That's what our role is as academic advisors, peer advisors, faculty advisors, and we welcome those types of conversations. We hope that you feel comfortable enough to share with us when things aren't feeling great, if you're feeling stressed or nervous or really anything in between. We encourage you to know that we're here for you. If we don't have the answer or whatnot, we work with a lot of great people across campus, and we'll work very hard to get you in contact with anybody and everybody who can help you through whatever it is that's on your mind. So we are here for you. We look forward to getting to know you and working with you.
Joe, can I add one more thing to that too?
Yeah, go for it.
So I also love this question because personally, like Danielle had mentioned, she experienced those nerves, and like I can still remember to this day my first day of college, and like that transition for me, being a first generation college student, it just added another layer of stress. And so just how Joe and Danielle had shared, finding, being willing to just be honest with us in the dean's office about what's going on, your challenges, your struggles. We definitely have been there, and we definitely can support you, and we want to support you. So so I really like that question, appreciate it, because I think that's exactly where I was starting college myself many, many years ago. So I totally understand.
And with that, at this point, we don't see any more additional questions in the chat. And I think this is kind of a good stopping point for our time today. Remember, this is not the last conversation that we will have. This is really just the start of what we hope to be many conversations. We look forward to getting to know you, to answering your questions. As a reminder, be on the lookout in early July from contact from one of the dean's office advisors and regarding scheduling an advising appointment. Please feel free to write down any questions. In the meantime, if you have a pressing question, don't know where to start, please don't hesitate to email that general advising email that you see on our screen. We certainly wish you the best as you move forward here at UC Davis, and we hope that you are staying healthy and well during this time. Have a great rest of your day.